Imagine you're a hardened criminal, hiding out, thinking you've outsmarted the cops, only to get wrecked by a goat, exposed by a cat, or sniffed out by a beaver. Yep, welcome to the bizarre world of crime-fighting animals, where the real MVPs don't wear badges but feathers, fur, or fins. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you might seriously consider hiring a chicken instead of a security system. And trust me, it's only going to get weirder from here. 1. You wouldn't expect a turtle to become an undercover agent, but Florida wildlife officers owe one slowpoke a big thank you. While tracking this tagged turtle, they noticed its migration path took an odd detour to a remote dock. Turns out, this wasn't just a curious reptile exploring the coastline, it was practically mapping out a smuggling route. Investigators followed the clue and busted an illegal operation hiding in plain sight. Who knew a turtle could outsmart criminals? Somewhere out there, a tortoise is flipping its shell proudly, wondering why it hasn't gotten a badge yet. 2. In Oregon, a service dog turned a casual park stroll into a true crime episode. While its owner relaxed on a bench, the dog locked eyes on a man and refused to calm down, growling like its favorite chew toy was under threat. Trusting her companion's judgment, the woman called the police, and shocker, the guy was a fugitive kidnapper on the run. What detectives couldn't figure out in years, a dog sniffed out in seconds. Suddenly, man's best friend feels like a demotion. This canine deserves its own Netflix series. 3. Picture this. South Carolina Marine trainers are working with a dolphin, expecting the usual flips and tricks. Instead, the dolphin dives deep and resurfaces triumphantly holding a gun. No, it wasn't part of the show. That firearm was linked to an unsolved murder, giving police the breakthrough they needed. Who knew the next great crime fighter wouldn't be in uniform, but would have flippers and an irresistible grin? If dolphins start demanding pensions, honestly, they've earned it. 4. In the Arizona desert, a stray dog wasn't looking for adventure, just dinner. But its scavenger hunt led to something bigger, a stolen car hidden away in a rocky cave. Locals noticed the pup's odd detour and called authorities, who soon found the thief's hideout. As a reward, the once homeless dog was adopted and became a local legend, with neighbors calling it their four-legged detective. Proof that sometimes all it takes to crack a case is a nose for snacks, and no sense of personal space. 5. Only in Texas can a cow accidentally blow the lid off a drug operation. Officers first noticed the cow loitering near a rundown barn, and while most people would have assumed it was just chewing the scenery, the police got suspicious. Inside the barn, a full-fledged drug lab. The cow, meanwhile, casually resumed grazing, oblivious to the headlines it was about to make. Somewhere out there is a drug lord still wondering how he got taken down by livestock. You can't make this stuff up. Justice really does come with horns sometimes. 6. In Oregon, a bank robber thought his biggest worry was the police, until he met an angry goose. Fleeing across a field, the suspect ran straight into this flapping menace, which bit, hissed, and blocked his path like a feathered bouncer on a mission. The police showed up just in time to scoop up the would-be criminal, who was probably regretting all his life choices, especially the ones involving shortcuts through goose territory. Honestly, forget attack dogs. Banks might want to start hiring geese for security. They're loud, aggressive, and they work for breadcrumbs. 7. Off the coast of California, a humpback whale became both a rescuer and an eco-warrior. A diver trapped in abandoned fishing nets faced a terrifying end, until the whale arrived, gently nudging the diver to the surface. But the story didn't end there. Authorities investigating the area uncovered a massive illegal fishing operation harming marine life. So, not only did the whale save a human life, it exposed an underwater crime ring. Somewhere, that whale is probably swimming around wondering why it hasn't been given a medal, or at least a lifetime supply of krill. 8. In the remote wilderness of Alaska, a hawk became an unlikely informant. Wildlife officers noticed the bird acting strangely, circling one area with an intensity that screamed, "Hey, something's up over here!" When officers checked it out, they discovered an illegal poaching site filled with traps and animal remains. Thanks to the hawk's sharp eyes and instincts, the operation was shut down. Just imagine the poachers explaining in court that their downfall came courtesy of a bird with a grudge. Talk about nature fighting back. 9. In California, a service dog didn't just save its owner's day, it probably saved her life. When a stranger tried to abduct the woman, the dog launched into action, barking and lunging at the attacker like a furry missile of justice. The commotion drew attention, forcing the suspect to flee, though police later tracked him down. This wasn't just emotional support. It was full-blown, teeth-bared protection. Somewhere, that pup is probably relaxing on a very well-earned pile of treats, while the would-be kidnapper has a lot of explaining to do behind bars. 10. At a Texas border checkpoint, routine turned ridiculous when a snake slithered out from under a car's hidden compartment. Officers, startled but curious, checked further and discovered smuggled contraband packed inside. While the snake probably wasn't working undercover, its inconvenient timing forced the smugglers' plan to unravel. It's not every day you hear of reptiles assisting border security. Somewhere, that snake is probably bragging to its friends about busting a smuggling ring. Meanwhile, the officers are just grateful they didn't have to add snake wrangler to their job description. 11. In Wyoming, a rancher's horse proved that intuition isn't just for humans. The animal kept nervously glancing at a distant field, ears twitching and muscles tense. When the rancher went to investigate, he discovered 2 escaped convicts trying to lay low. Authorities were called, and the fugitives were swiftly arrested. That horse, meanwhile, went back to grazing, probably thinking, all in a day's work. Forget Lassie. This 4-legged lookout deserves its own TV show. Sheriff Hooves? Anyone? 12. Hiking in Arizona usually comes with sunburn and sore legs, not a brush with danger. But one group of hikers owes their safety to a hawk that wouldn't stop circling and screeching overhead. Curious, they checked ahead on the trail and discovered an armed robber lying in wait. Thanks to the feathered alarm system, they called for help and avoided what could have been a nightmare encounter. If anyone deserved trail mix that day, it was that hawk, earning its title as the ultimate wilderness watchdog. 13. In Montana, a couple of burglars thought they were in for an easy score when they targeted a quiet barn, until they met its equine protector. As they fumbled with their tools, the horse charged straight at them, ears pinned and hooves thundering. The terrified thieves bolted, leaving their gear, and probably a piece of their pride, behind. The horse went back to munching hay, while the police scooped up enough evidence to wrap up the case. It's safe to say that horse didn't just defend the barn. It defended its title as the ultimate 4-legged bouncer. 14. In the dusty backroads of Arizona, a goat accidentally wandered into the middle of a smuggling operation and saved the day. Curious hikers followed the goat to a remote property, where they spotted suspicious activity and called authorities. What officers uncovered was a full-blown smuggling ring. Thanks to this hoofed investigator, the bad guys were caught red-handed. The goat? It strutted away, probably wondering why everyone was cheering and who was going to feed it a celebratory snack. Move over, Sherlock Holmes. Make room for Sherlock Hooves. 15. At a racetrack in Kentucky, a prized horse made headlines, not for winning, but for refusing to run. Veterinarians discovered the animal had been secretly drugged, triggering a deeper investigation. What they uncovered was a tangled web of insurance fraud orchestrated by the owner, hoping to cash in on a staged injury. Turns out, the horse's survival instinct blew the lid off the scheme. So next time someone tells you animals can't sniff out crime, just remind them, this horse quite literally stopped a criminal in his tracks. 16. In Florida, a pet peacock with a flair for chaos became an unexpected undercover agent. The bird strutted into a neighbor's garage and knocked over a box, revealing a stash of counterfeit bills. The homeowner, rattled by the discovery, called police, who quickly arrested the counterfeiter next door. The peacock, meanwhile, became a local celebrity with the nickname Feathered Fed. Who knew that beneath all those dazzling feathers was the heart of a crime-fighting legend? 17. At a bustling New Jersey airport, a trained falcon working with security teams became laser-focused on one traveler's bag. When authorities took a closer look, they uncovered a smuggling attempt involving rare jewels hidden in secret compartments. Without the falcon's keen instincts, the jewels might have slipped through undetected. Somewhere that bird is probably basking on a perch, enjoying the perks of a job well done. TSA agents might want to start handing out falcon treats, because this sharp-eyed enforcer just raised the security game. 18. In Colorado, a school's pet goat became an unlikely hero during what could have been a dangerous moment. When a student with suspicious behavior tried to enter the school, the goat stubbornly blocked the door, refusing to budge. Alerted by the commotion, staff investigated and found prohibited items in the student's backpack. Thanks to the goat's natural talent for stubbornness, a potential crisis was averted. Somewhere in that schoolyard, a very smug goat is probably still waiting for its medal, and maybe an extra apple or two. 19. In Wisconsin, a cat's contribution to solving a burglary was as effortless as it was brilliant. When a home was robbed, investigators found a single strand of cat hair on the suspect's clothes, linking him directly to the scene. The family cat had apparently brushed against the burglar during the crime, leaving behind the perfect clue. You can try to outsmart the law, but you can't outsmart a house cat who treats intruders like annoying house guests. Moral of the story? Don't mess with felines. They're watching, they're judging, and they're excellent at framing you with forensic evidence. 20. In Tennessee, a fugitive thought he'd outsmarted the cops by hiding out in a barn. But he didn't count on nature's most obnoxious little agent, a skunk. Startled by the man's presence, the skunk unleashed its nuclear-grade spray, turning the barn into an unbearable stink zone. Gagging and gasping, the fugitive bolted outside, right into the arms of waiting officers. Turns out you can dodge the law, but you can't outrun Oda Skunk. Somewhere, that skunk is probably waddling around smugly, wondering why it hasn't been deputized yet. 21. In Kentucky, a colony of bats led conservationists straight to a hidden crime scene. Researchers were tracking the bats when they noticed the animals roosting in what should have been an abandoned mine. When authorities investigated, they discovered illegal mining and smuggling operations in full swing. Who knew these nocturnal creatures weren't just swooping through the night for bugs, but also helping expose underground crime rings? Somewhere in the shadows, those bats are probably congratulating themselves with a celebratory mosquito snack. 22. At a California wildlife reserve, an elephant decided enough was enough. When a suspicious truck tried to sneak out with smuggled exotic birds, the elephant planted itself firmly in the middle of the road, trunk raised, ears flared, and zero intention of budging. Rangers caught up just in time to stop the smugglers. Was the elephant just being stubborn, or did it sense something was off? Either way, it's hard to argue with a multi-ton blockade. Forget speed bumps. Maybe we need more elephant patrols. 23. In Michigan, a family dog transformed an ordinary backyard dig into a criminal breakthrough. While joyfully tearing up the lawn, as dogs do, the pup uncovered a buried stash of weapons linked to a cold robbery case. Police were stunned, the dog less so. After all, for this four-legged detective, it was just another exciting day of playing in the dirt. Somewhere, that dog is probably dreaming of tennis balls and wondering why humans are so bad at hide-and-seek. 24. In Texas, a dog's obsessive barking turned into the bust of the year. No one could figure out why the pup kept losing its mind over one patch of yard, until authorities dug in and found a secret smuggling tunnel. That's right. While humans above were scratching their heads, the dog had already sniffed out the underground action. Forget crime shows. This dog needs its own series called Bones and Busts. 25. In Oregon, a busy beaver working on its dam unexpectedly exposed the spoils of illegal logging. As the animal hauled logs into place, park rangers noticed suspiciously marked wood and launched an investigation. What they uncovered was a full-scale illegal logging operation, complete with arrests and hefty fines. Somewhere in the forest, that beaver is probably gnawing on a well-earned snack, blissfully unaware it just played a starring role in an environmental takedown. 26. In Washington state, a woman's dog proved that loyalty isn't just about cuddles, it's about justice. When a pickpocket snatched her wallet, the dog took off like a furry missile, chasing the thief down the street. The startled crook panicked, dropped the wallet, and ran for his life. Tail wagging proudly, the dog trotted back with the prize, earning not just treats but legendary status in the neighborhood. Somewhere, that thief is probably still looking over his shoulder for the world's most determined retriever. 27. In Georgia, a car thief thought he had pulled off the perfect escape by diving into a swamp. No footprints, no trail, just murky water and overconfidence. Unfortunately for him, a bloodhound with the nose of a legend was on the case. Undeterred by mud or mosquitoes, the dog sniffed its way straight to the soggy fugitive. The suspect was found caked in mud and absolutely defeated, not by cops, but by a dog that could have tracked a scent through a hurricane. If justice had a nose, it'd look a lot like this dog's. 28. In Ohio, a raccoon looking for leftovers accidentally cracked a robbery case wide open. While digging through a dumpster, the trash panda uncovered a stash of stolen electronics, clearly worth more than half-eaten pizza crusts. When police arrived, they found scratched-off serial numbers matching a recent heist. The raccoon, meanwhile, went back to foraging, completely unaware it had just upstaged half the city's detectives. If anyone deserves a badge and a buffet of garbage, it's this accidental crime-fighting trash monster. 29. In Maine, a convenience store's cat proved it was more than just a furry fixture. When burglars broke in after hours, the cat triggered a silent alarm by climbing over the motion sensors, something it had never done before. Police arrived just in time to catch the crooks red-handed. The cat? Totally unfazed, probably more annoyed that its nap got interrupted than proud of saving the store. Still, locals started calling it the perfect alarm system. Low maintenance, high efficiency, and powered by catnip. 30. A drug lab hidden deep in Maine's woods came undone, thanks to an environmental vigilante, a beaver. After the industrious rodent built a dam that caused the nearby river to flood, the rising waters reached a suspiciously isolated cabin. The lab's operators bailed before the whole setup got waterlogged. Rangers stumbled upon the abandoned scene and pieced together the puzzle. And the beaver? It just wanted to build a nice home and accidentally drowned a criminal enterprise in the process. Nature's justice is poetic and surprisingly damp. 31. In Colorado, a jewelry thief's big night was ruined by a squirrel with attitude. As the intruder grabbed his loot, the shop owner's pet squirrel launched itself like a tiny furry missile, biting the man's hand and causing him to drop everything. The thief fled, probably reconsidering his life choices, while the squirrel stood victorious atop the counter. Police arrived to find a shaken suspect and one very smug rodent. Locals now joke that the store doesn't need security cameras, just a stash of acorns and one fearless ball of fluff. 32. Ohio's canine heroics hit new heights when one family dog managed to detect both a break-in and a potential explosion in a single night. After a burglar broke in and damaged a gas line, the dog went into full alert mode, barking non-stop until the family woke up. They evacuated just in time, called emergency services, and yes, caught the intruder, who was apparently as clueless about gas safety as he was about crime. The dog got belly rubs, the burglar got arrested, and the gas leak got capped. A true multitasking legend. 33. In Tennessee, a curious pig rooting through the backyard made an unexpected and shiny discovery. Hidden beneath a few inches of dirt was a box of stolen jewelry, long buried and forgotten. The pig's owner called the police, and it didn't take long for investigators to connect the pieces to an unsolved string of burglaries. As for the pig, it became a local celebrity rolling in praise, and probably a few celebratory donuts. Proof that sometimes justice has a snout, a curly tail, and a nose for the truth. 34. In Arkansas, a chicken proved that heroes don't always come in big packages. When burglars broke into a home at night and accidentally set the garage on fire, the family's chicken went into full panic mode, clucking so wildly it woke the homeowners. As they rushed outside, they not only escaped the flames, but also preserved key evidence that later helped police catch the culprits. Forget smoke alarms. Apparently, all you need is a chicken with a bad attitude and a loud mouth. Somewhere in that yard, a very proud hen is strutting like she owns the place. 35. In Florida, an elderly woman narrowly escaped falling victim to a phone scam, thanks to her parrot. As she was about to give out personal details, her parrot squawked, "Don't do it!" so loudly it startled her into hanging up. Moments later, police confirmed the call was indeed a scam. Turns out, Polly doesn't just want a cracker, she wants to keep Grandma's bank account safe. Who knew that among all the parrots repeating nonsense, one would nail the best advice of the year? 36. Louisiana officers inspecting a suspect's backpack got more than they bargained for when a live frog leapt out mid-search. Startled but curious, they dug deeper and uncovered hidden contraband in secret compartments, something they might have missed if the frog hadn't made such an entrance. It's safe to say that frog had no idea it was about to blow a smuggling attempt wide open. Somewhere in a swamp, there's a little green hero who deserves a medal, or at least a nice bug buffet. 37. In Illinois, a family cat went from cuddly companion to full-blown scam detector. When a smooth-talking stranger tried to con an elderly couple, the usually mellow cat hissed, clawed, and wouldn't let the man near its owners. Suspicious, the couple investigated and discovered the man was a known con artist. The cat, meanwhile, casually resumed its nap, probably wondering why humans are so bad at reading people. Honestly, that cat's instincts deserve their own crime show. 38. Off the Florida coast, dolphins put human thieves to shame. After a criminal tossed stolen jewelry into the ocean during a getaway, a pod of dolphins decided to play detective. They retrieved several glittering items and brought them right to the police boat. Officers half-joked about putting badges on the dolphins, though let's be real, these aquatic geniuses were probably just showing off. Who needs metal detectors when you have nature's most charming search team? 39. In Nebraska, a farmer's rooster turned into an unexpected alarm system when burglars tried to break into the barn. Instead of quietly roosting, the rooster went ballistic, crowing and flapping so loudly that the burglars panicked and fled. Police caught them soon after, and the rooster became a local legend. Looks like the early bird doesn't just get the worm, it stops the crime. Somewhere in that barnyard, a rooster's strut just got a lot cockier. 40. In Missouri, a gang of chickens proved you don't need teeth or claws to stop a crime, just sheer chaotic noise. When intruders snuck onto the farm, the chickens exploded into a frenzy of clucking and wing flapping, making such a racket that neighbors called the police. The burglars were nabbed mid-escape, and the farmer rewarded the chickens with extra feed. Imagine explaining in jail that you got busted because of a chicken riot. 41. In Texas, a family's donkey showed off its crime-stopping chops by braying so loudly during a break-in attempt that it scared off the would-be intruders. Neighbors came running, and the culprits fled empty-handed. Forget expensive alarm systems. This family had a long-eared, loudmouthed defender with a built-in siren. Somewhere on that ranch, a donkey is basking in glory, and probably demanding extra carrots for its heroics. 42. In the bustling chaos of New York City, a stolen homing pigeon pulled off one of the most unexpected takedowns. After being nabbed from its loft, the determined bird did what it was born to do. It flew right back home. What it didn't know was that perched on its back was the key to unraveling a theft ring. When police followed the pigeon's flight, they arrived at a rooftop hideout packed with stolen goods. The thief was left stunned, caught red-handed by a bird with better GPS than most smartphones. Sometimes loyalty flies on two wings and delivers justice straight to your window. 43. In California, a raccoon turned a routine inspection into a drug bust no one saw coming. Officers were questioning a suspect when a raccoon popped up, curious as ever, and started digging through the suspect's backpack. To everyone's surprise, it unearthed a stash of drugs hidden in the lining. The officers barely had to lift a finger, thanks to their unexpected little assistant. Somewhere in the neighborhood, that raccoon is probably still rifling through trash, blissfully unaware it just pulled off a better drug bust than half the narcotics team. 44. In Pennsylvania, a cat's casual leap onto a shelf set off a chain of events that would make any detective jealous. As the cat jumped, it triggered a motion-activated security camera that caught a burglar mid-heist. The footage gave police everything they needed to identify and arrest the culprit. The cat, meanwhile, went right back to grooming itself. Because when you're a cat, solving crimes is just another Tuesday. Let's face it, the curiosity killed the cat saying needs an update. This one caught a criminal instead. 45. In Michigan, a parrot became the most unlikely key witness in a murder case. After its owner was found dead, The bird began repeating the chilling phrase, "Don't shoot," over and over. Investigators, intrigued by the bird's strange behavior, re-examined the case and ultimately identified the killer. Imagine being taken down because a parrot wouldn't stop spilling the beans. Somewhere in that house, the bird is probably still talking. And if it hasn't gotten a fancy new cage and an endless supply of snacks, it's a true crime and justice. 46. In Nevada, a playful dog out for a game of fetch stumbled upon something a lot more valuable than a tennis ball. Digging enthusiastically in a public park, the pup unearthed a bag stuffed with cash. The owner, doing the responsible thing, handed it over to police, who traced it back to a recent bank robbery. While the thief sat behind bars, the dog probably got the best belly rub of its life. Turns out, some noses aren't just for treats. They're for sniffing out stolen fortunes. 47. Inside a Pennsylvania prison, it wasn't the guards or the cameras that cracked a contraband operation. It was a rat. Guards noticed the little intruder slipping in and out of a hole in the wall. Curious, they investigated and discovered inmates had built a hidden passage to move banned goods between cells. Thanks to this unintentional informant, the scheme collapsed. Somewhere behind those walls, inmates are probably still cursing the rat that ruined their side hustle, while the rat scurries on, blissfully unaware it shut down a prison black market. 48. In Texas, a thief learned the hard way that some horses have a better sense of justice than most people. After stealing a horse from a local ranch, the thief couldn't hold on to his prize. The horse slipped free and trotted home, straight into the arms of its owner. The owner, not missing a beat, followed the animal's trail right back to the thief's hideout. Talk about poetic justice. The horse didn't just come home, it practically delivered the suspect gift-wrapped. Somewhere in that stable, the horse is probably demanding extra oats, and honestly, it's earned them. 49. Off the coast of Florida, a pod of dolphins turned into an impromptu Coast Guard squad. Spotting a suspicious boat, the dolphins circled it relentlessly, creating waves that slowed it down. The Coast Guard noticed the strange commotion and moved in, uncovering a smuggling operation hidden on board. Thanks to these playful yet sharp-eyed marine mammals, the smugglers' plans sank before they even reached shore. Somewhere in the ocean, those dolphins are probably still laughing. After all, who needs a badge when you've got fins, speed, and a talent for ruining criminal getaways? So, next time you see a squirrel in the park or a pigeon on a rooftop, remember, they just might be cracking a case while you scroll your phone. From cats triggering cameras to dolphins chasing down smugglers, these animals prove you don't need opposable thumbs to serve justice. Which one blew your mind the most? Drop it in the comments. And hey, maybe subscribe. You know, before your neighbor's parrot spoils all your secrets.